educate, and mobilize the South Asian community to re-elect President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential election. Recognizing South Asian community's significance as a key voting bloc and building on its unprecedented mobilization in the 2020 election, SAB, as we're also known, will once again focus on the role of community organizing and voter turnout in securing electoral victory for Biden-Harris in 2024. Now, what we accomplished in 2020. Our outreach to South Asian voters in battleground states was the margin of victory in 2020 and 2021. We reached out to several 100,000 AAPI and South Asian voters in battleground states through direct voter contact and through our digital and video campaigns. President Biden won the presidency in these 6 key states by 313,000 votes. We reached out to thousands of AAPI voters in Georgia through phone banks, postcards, and other direct outreach. President Biden won Georgia by 12,670 votes. Our recurring phone banks reached tens of thousands of AAPI voters in Wisconsin. President Biden won Wisconsin by 20,682 votes. Now, what's our strategy in 2024? Our strategy is to protect our democracy through a multi-pronged and comprehensive approach, which includes investing in disaggregated voter lists, providing multilingual voter ID guides, and collaborating with AAPI and other coalition groups for effective outreach. Our strategy essentially, which is rooted in grassroots and relational organizing, tackles disinformation through tailored communication campaigns. What's at stake in 2024? Now, even though it has been said in the past that the 2024 presidential election will be the most consequential election in our nation's history, which will determine whether we elect Donald Trump, a xenophobic former president who has vowed to curb our fundamental freedoms from reproductive rights to LGBTQ and trans rights to immigrant rights, or re-elect President Biden and Vice President Harris, who have vowed to protect our constitutional right to access reproductive health care and safeguard our fundamental freedoms. So what else is at stake? Reproductive justice. In South Asian communities, reproductive justice and freedom is one of the key priorities on voters' minds this election cycle. Resources and findings from South Asians for Abortion reveal that the majority of South Asians in the United States believe that abortion should be legal in all or most cases, and strongly oppose restrictions on reproductive rights. 55% of Muslims and 68% of Hindus in America believe that abortion should be legal in all or most cases. And in Sikh American communities, 59% have either had an abortion or know a Sikh person who has had an abortion. In New York City, which is where I'm very close to, it has one of the largest concentrations of South Asians around the country, and Indian Americans have the highest abortion rate amongst Asian Americans. And voter outreach to South Asian voters in battleground states during the 2024 primary cycle has revealed that abortion is one of the top 3 issues on these voters' minds, which will determine how they vote during this election cycle. Even as extreme state abortion bans enacted by Republican-controlled state legislatures have swept our countries thanks to a conservative majority in our Supreme Court that overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, President Biden and Vice President Harris had stood steadfast in their commitment to protect reproductive freedom for women nationwide, taking critical actions to defend access to emergency medical care and protect access to FDA-approved medication abortion, among many other actions. So what else is at stake? Gun violence is an Asian American issue. It has devastated the AAPI community since before the current rise in anti-Asian attacks. From 2015 through 2019, more than 3,000 Asian Americans died from gun suicides, homicides, and accidental shootings. As a whole, Asian Americans strongly support taking action to end gun violence. According to a 2022 Asian American voter survey conducted by AAPI Data, 77% of those surveyed agreed that the United States should have stricter gun laws. In a poll conducted by AAPI Victory Alliance of Virginia's Asian American voters in 2023, gun violence ranked second among issues of most importance. 70% of AAPI respondents in the state said they are much more likely to support a candidate for state legislature who supports improving gun safety laws by requiring universal background checks. South Asian Americans showed the highest support at 74%. A Pew Research Center report revealed that Asian adults showed the highest levels of support for increasing the minimum age to own guns to 21 at 71%, and 62% supported a ban on assault-style weapons altogether. On June 25, 2022, President Biden signed the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, signing into law the first major gun safety legislation in 3 decades, which essentially expanded firearm background checks to fight gun crime. President Biden continues to call on Congress to enact universal background checks and to increase funding for the ATF so that the agency continue its life-saving work to stop the flow of illegal firearms into our communities. Additionally, President Biden has repeatedly affirmed that he wants to ban assault weapons, high-capacity magazines, and require background checks for all gun sales, and will do so when we win back the House and expand the Senate. What else is at stake? Following the coronavirus outbreak, reports of discrimination and violence towards Asian Americans increased. A previous Pew Research Center survey of English-speaking Asian adults showed that as of 2021, 1/3 said they feared someone might threaten or physically attack them. English-speaking Asian adults in 2022 were also more likely than other racial or ethnic groups to say they had changed their daily routines due to concerns they might be threatened or attacked. According to a 2022 Asian American voter survey conducted by AAPI data, 73% of Asian Americans worry about experiencing hate crimes, harassment, and discrimination at least sometimes, and 24% say they worry about it very often. Between March 2020 and May 2023, organization Stop AAPI Hate received more than 11,000 self-reported incidents of anti-Asian bias, the vast majority of which involved harassment, bullying, shunning, and other discrimination incidents. Since taking office, the Biden-Harris administration has taken numerous steps to counter hate-fueled violence, from signing the bipartisan COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act to releasing the first ever national strategy for countering domestic terrorism, to signing the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the most significant legislation in 3 decades to reduce gun violence, to hosting the first United We Stand Summit. Now, this is just a sliver of what's at stake during this election. We are grateful that as South Asians for Biden, we can play a critical role in highlighting the many achievements of President Biden and can help serve as the margin of victory once again. Now, it is my great pleasure to introduce you to Sergio Gonzalez, who is the Senior Advisor to Vice President Kamala Harris in Biden-Harris re-election campaign. He's also the former Deputy Chief of Staff at the U.S. Office of Personnel Management during the Obama-Biden administration. Sergio, welcome, and over to you.
Thank you so much. I really just want to thank you for having me here tonight, and I'm so excited by the launch of South Asians for Biden. In 2020, you organized, you mobilized, and you helped make the difference to ensure historic turnout. And as a result, Joe Biden was elected as president, and I'm so proud to work for the first woman and the first person of South Asian descent to be Vice President of the United States. Vice President Harris, as you know, has spent her career as a fighter for all of us. As District Attorney of San Francisco, Attorney General of California, and a United States Senator, she's always been on the side of citizens' rights and working people in every area of life for more than 2 decades. And now as Vice President, she has continued to deliver historic accomplishments for communities across America while talking directly with people all over the country. In this year alone, she's traveled to over 16 states and she's made 30 trips. That's just in the period of January, February, March, and April. She is championing the fight for our fundamental freedoms and rights, and this includes the right for reproductive freedom. Both she and the president have made clear that Donald Trump is the architect of the abortion restrictions taking place across our country and the attack on women's rights. She oversees the first ever Office of Gun Violence Prevention, and because the president and vice president's leadership, the first major bipartisan gun legislation was passed in modern history, and we know there is more to do, like banning assault weapons. And the VP has not only led at home, but has led abroad with over 16 foreign trips and meetings with over 150 world leaders. She has traveled to Dubai to announce historic climate action as part of COP28. She represented the United States at the Southeast Asian Nation Summit last year and has overseen historic public-private partnerships across the globe to deepen relations with partner countries and spur economic opportunities, both here and with countries abroad. Your organizing in 2020 helped make all of this possible. And what you are doing this year is critical to making sure voters across this country are clear on the stakes of this election, and also how this administration has delivered for working people, including South Asians in America. I don't have to tell you the stakes couldn't be higher, but I can tell you that we have a president and vice president who are fighting every day for you. They've worked tirelessly to bring about real and historic progress on so many issues, ranging from prescription drug costs to historic economic growth and job creation. They've always stood against hate, including during the rapid increase in hate following COVID-19 directed towards AAPI communities, and of course, passed the legislation to address those hate crimes in their first year in office. I want to thank you for having me here tonight, and really want to thank again all of the work that you have done and you're about to do to ensure that President Biden and Vice President are reelected in November. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Sergio, so much for being here. Really appreciate it. And now we will hear videos from various inspiring leaders from across the country. And before we do that, I just want to apologize for the technical difficulties that we had earlier, but we sure hope that you enjoy this evening, and very grateful that you can join us. Please bear with us for a few more minutes while we get this together. We are South Asians, and we are good at tech, but sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. So thank you.
Vote Biden. Her future is on the line. The lives of our families are at stake. We are South Asians for Biden. We are the margin of victory.
Hi, I'm Quentin Fulks. I'm the Principal Deputy Campaign Manager for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris 2024. I want to first thank Harani and Neha for your leadership with South Asians for Biden. I want to thank all of you for being here this evening for the official launch of South Asians for Biden. I know the work that you all did in 2020 meant everything to us on the path to 270. I know the calls that were made into Georgia and into Wisconsin were beyond the winning margin, and it's going to take all of us again in 2024 to make sure that we hit 270 electoral votes. Our campaign feels in a very strong position. We've opened field offices across all the battleground states in the country. We've got state leadership in all the battleground states, and we've been launching constituency groups and coalitions just like this one. The importance of rebuilding the Biden-Harris coalition to get to the 80 million voters that sent President Biden and Vice President Harris to the White House in 2024 means everything. We're a diverse party. We're one that takes everything into account, and we've got to make sure that we're out there communicating. And so the work that you all are doing tonight on calls like this are exactly how we're going to be able to win. It's no secret that our pathway to victory in November to get to 270 electoral votes leads through groups like South Asian for Biden. And so I want to thank you all for the work that you did to help send the president and the vice president to the White House in 2020. And also even in states like Georgia. I was the campaign manager for Senator Raphael Warnock in Georgia, and the AAPI vote was 4% of the electorate, and we were able to get up those margins to send Senator Warnock to the Senate and hold the Senate. And now we have to make sure that we're continuing to do that across all the battleground states. And again, I know the work that South Asians for Biden did across the 6 battleground states in 2020 when President Biden won by 313,000 electoral or 313,000 votes meant everything. And so again, we're very grateful for you all. Our campaign here in Wilmington, Delaware is committed to making sure that you all have all the resources that you need to connect with voters across the country. And I know that AAPI Heritage Month is coming up. And so our campaign looks forward to continuing to work with you all. And thank you for being here tonight.
We are South Asians for Biden.
We are the margin of victory.
Hello, South Asians for Biden. I want to thank you for all the work that you have done already and all the work you're going to do over these 193 days left to re-elect President Biden and Vice President Harris. There's no doubt all over the country, thanks to the AAPI vote and your work in organizing communities throughout this country, that we have been successful in building our democratic movement, electing candidates up and down the ballot thanks to all of your hard work. This critical re-election campaign will be successful only because of the work that you've already done and thanks to the work that you're going to do to make sure that we win this November. I don't have to tell you that this is one of the most important elections of our lifetime. We are fighting for our democracy, and your vote and of course your organizing work is going to be so important to us in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead. I want to thank you for all that South Asians for Biden continue to do to build our movement throughout this country. Thank you. Keep up the work. 193 days left till victory.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leong, and I'm absolutely delighted and honored to be here. to help you with the kickoff of the South Asian for Biden. Your organization is such an important organization, as you have proven it in the last election in 2020, and you had the foresight to continue the work that you started back in 2020 and made it into the South Asians for America, and continue to do good work throughout the last 3.5 years. Now that you are ready to begin to kick off the South Asian for Biden, we're very, very excited that you're ready and willing to jump into the fray. Make no mistake, this is an extremely critical election. I don't think I need to tell you, I think all of you know actually, that we're actually fighting not only for our democracy, but and for our freedom and our rights and our choices. We're fighting for our future. We're fighting for a place for us to be in. We're fighting to be who we are. So this is an extremely, extremely critical election, and it's only the Democrats that are going to be on our side in this fight. So thank you very much for being part of this. This election, more than any other even, is extremely important to get the vote out. Our biggest enemy during this election is going to be apathy. There are a lot of people, I know that there are a lot of high emotions going, and it is up to us to try to talk to our friends, to listen, and to help them understand that staying out is really not an option. Staying out is a vote for the other side. It's very, very important that you go out there and you try to get out the vote. You have to go and convince not only your friends and your family, but your associates. Make those phone calls to your aunties, your cousins, your parents, your grandparents, your nieces, your nephews. To say that we are the margin of victory is almost an understatement. We are the fastest growing demographic, and we have proven that we are part of that victory. Without us, there is no victory. We proved that down in Georgia, and we proved that in all of the battleground states during that election. Our power has been increasing over the years thanks to efforts like the South Asian for Biden group. So congratulations on getting started all over again, and please gather everybody, all of the resources, all the efforts, and go out there and fight for each and every one of us. Fight for me, fight for yourselves, fight for our children, and fight for a future for our America, the way that we know it, the way that we grew in it, and the way that we want to live in it. Thank you so very much for having me.
Hey folks, my name is Anderson Clayton. I'm the state party chair in North Carolina, the youngest state party chair in the country, and I'm so excited to be joining you all for the launch of South Asians for Biden-Harris this year. Thank you for all of the work that you're going to do this year to get out and talk to the South Asian community about the importance of this administration and what they're doing for boots on the ground and for people across North Carolina and across the United States. We're so excited because North Carolina has one of the fastest growing South Asian populations in the entire country. Over 400,000 South Asians live in North Carolina, and we're so excited because they're one of the largest voting blocks that is coming up in our state right now. So we're making sure that our South Asian community knows that elections impact them just as much as it does anyone else, honestly. And so the South Asian community is a great voting block in our state, especially in our areas of Cary and Morrisville and Wake County. Wake County is going to be so important in North Carolina this year. So goes Wake, so goes the state of North Carolina when it comes to the presidential election, but also battleground state legislative races that we've got this year too. So all of your hard work and all of your energy in North Carolina is going to be put forth making our state a bluer one. The road to the White House runs right through us. Thanks, everybody.
Hello, everyone. As chair of the New Hampshire Democratic Party, I am so proud of the leadership of our state party's AAPI caucus. The AAPI vote is decisive in this ultimate battleground state. And with South Asians as the fastest growing racial and ethnic minority in the U.S. and here in New Hampshire, they are essential to democracy. The AAPI caucus members are building a formidable organization that will have a lasting impact on New Hampshire's future. Not only was our AAPI caucus our first official caucus, we have numerous AAPI members in party leadership and elective office here in New Hampshire. We have our caucus chair, Sumati Madur, and Stratford County Chair Walter King, and Cheshire County Chair Mohammed Salih, and State Party Secretary Maitri Chidity, and Executive Committee at-large member Cora Kwasimbi King, New Hampshire High School Democrats Chair Arika Roy, and former National High School Democrats President and DNC member Samay Sahu. They're joined by state committee members like Siraj Budathaki and Shadeko Ture and Mahendra Bakshi, Representative Latha Manjapudi, and Representative Luz Bay, who's, by the way, going to be co-chairing our upcoming state convention in May, and Representative Ben Ming, who this year is running to be the first AAPI state senator in New Hampshire history. The AAPI community is fully engaged and will deliver the needed votes to win New Hampshire for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Democrats up and down the ticket right here in New Hampshire in 2024. Thank you so much.
Hey everybody, I'm Susan Swecker, the chairwoman of the Democratic Party of Virginia. About 51 years ago, whether I want to believe it or not, I got the bug for Virginia politics. Just like some of you, I was knocking on doors, getting people to sign petition, calling voters, being hung up on more times than I can count, and posting signs around the Commonwealth. It can be grueling, but when the job gets tough, always think about one of the most rewarding parts, connecting with people from different backgrounds and learning about different cultures. Over the decades, I've met so many members of the South Asian community in Virginia, some whom immigrated here or are children of immigrants. I've heard stories of resiliency and determination to achieve the American dream. But I've also heard about feelings of disappointment and frustration from years of being left behind and discriminated against. What you are doing to organize and mobilize South Asian voters is crucial to re-electing President Biden and Vice President Harris. In Virginia, there are more than 700,000 voters who are Asian American Pacific Islanders, and it's one of the fastest growing demographics. We must do everything we can to invest in an inclusive democracy. And the only way that we can do that is if we re-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and we re-elect our great Senator Tim Kaine and send Democrats to Congress. Thank you all for everything that you are doing, have done, and will continue to do. Go fight, win. Have a great evening.
We were key to President Biden and Vice President Harris's 2020 historic win, and we need to mobilize again. The president has delivered. I helped lead the Chips and Science Act to bring back semiconductor manufacturing to the United States. The president signed that. There's so many South Asians involved in creating good jobs in Arizona, in upstate New York, in Ohio, as a result of that act. And we've delivered on infrastructure. We've delivered on climate. We've delivered for public schools. We're standing up for abortion rights. We're standing up for voting rights. We are the deciding bloc in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Nevada, in Georgia, in Arizona. Let's mobilize and let's get this done.
Hello, I'm Congressmember Judy Chu, Chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, or what we call KPAC. I am so thrilled to join you all today for such an important event, the launch of South Asians for Biden 2024. The Asian American community, including South Asian communities, is the fastest growing racial group in the nation. Our communities have been increasingly civically engaged and turning out to vote in record numbers. This is true in so many races across this country, and that is in large part because of groups like this one, who are working tirelessly to ensure victory in November. In fact, I often say that AA and HPIs have gone from being marginalized to being the margin of victory. We all worked incredibly hard to elect President Biden and Vice President Harris, our first ever South Asian Vice President in 2020. And I want to thank South Asians for Biden for the incredible work you did to turn out South Asian communities across the country, making over 80,000 calls and sending over 45,000 texts to voters and translating campaign materials into South Asian languages to engage such a diverse community. What an incredible feat. This is one of the most critical and important elections of our lifetime, so I am looking forward to making sure that we are doing even more this year to re-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in November. I am thrilled that the Biden campaign has brought on board a brilliant South Asian woman, Nadia Belkin, as their National AA and HPI Outreach Director, who I look forward to working with closely this year. And I also want to thank South Asians for Biden's National Directors, Neha Diwan and Harini Krishnan, for your incredible leadership of this group. Thank you for inviting me to join today's launch, and I urge all of you here today to get involved however you can. Vote, get your family and friends to vote, phone bank, text bank, knock on doors, provide financial support. Do everything you can to make sure your community's voices are heard at the ballot box this November. Congratulations again to South Asians for Biden for your 2024 launch, and I look forward to working alongside you in the coming months.
Hi, I'm Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, and I am so proud to be with you as the chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus and to join all of you today as we celebrate the kickoff of South Asians for Biden. In 2020, thousands of South Asian voters turned out in battleground states, delivering the White House to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the House and the Senate to Democrats. And South Asians for Biden was a major part of that success. As the first South Asian American woman elected to the House of Representatives, one of only 24 naturalized citizens to serve in Congress, and one of less than 100 women of color to ever serve in Congress, it is my distinct honor to join you today as we come together to build our power. In this election, when our democracy, our basic freedoms to choose what we do with our bodies, to vote, and to love who we love are all at stake, every single vote matters. Our votes and our voices matter. Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders make up over 5% of the United States population, and we are the fastest growing group in the country. And in 2020, 68% of us voted for President Biden and Vice President Harris. I think we can grow that number. Recent polling shows that we are fundamentally in line with President Biden's platform this election cycle. For example, 79% of AAPI voters believe access to abortion should be legal, and 75% of us want
which puts the patient and physician in charge of their reproductive health for everything from abortion to contraception to infertility care. However, Ohio politicians and state officials are arguing that they can enforce provisions of its 6-week ban, which is currently blocked by a preliminary injunction. This is a result of the Dobbs decision overturning the federal right.
For America's children, and it has long been a leading cause of death for Black and brown children. Imagine that. Kids are now the experts on how to dodge bullets while sitting at their desks or walking to the corner store. This is America. This is the land that many of us, our parents, grandparents, and ancestors travel to make sure we have all the opportunities to live out our dreams. I know none of us dreamt that gun violence would be a reason to keep us up at night, to live in fear when our children go to school or the movie theater, or for me personally, as a parent of a bicultural Indian and African American daughter, fear for her life every time she steps outside her door. That is not the America any of us dreamt of. As South Asians living in America, we have a
नजरिया
और लागे नहीं कहीं और लागे नहीं कहीं और
बिनती करत मैं तो हार गई रे पिया को मनानत नाही रे पिया को मना पिया को मना पिया को मना मानत नाही रे।
legislation and xenophobic policies and rhetoric, or we have the choice to re-elect President Biden and Vice President Harris, who have enacted some of the most transformative and historic policies and legislation, ranging from reproductive freedom to gun violence, to combating hate crimes against our own communities, and so much more. So much is at stake. We were the margin of victory in 2020. And with your support and your help, we can be the key voting bloc that can shape electoral outcomes for generations to come. I urge you to join South Asians for Biden. Join us. Join a phone bank. Join a text bank. Write postcards. Join us in battleground states and come knock on doors with us. Come and talk to voters about what is at stake. Talk to your family and friends. Combat misinformation and join us. Please sign up for our mailing list. Follow us on our social media platforms. Visit us on our website at www.southasiansforbiden.org. Email us at info@southasiansforbiden2024.org. So much is at stake, and we need your help now more than ever. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great night.